two quick side notes. One, just because we were kind of talking about generations, and it made me think back to a previous episode. Did you see the Kai Cenat video where he was trying to read and might have been struggling a little bit and was looking up words as he was reading?
Who was in there with him? Was
You know,
it
this was a recent video and he was by himself, I believe.
okay? Because I saw something up, but that wasn't Kai. I saw something else where another celebrity was trying to read and emphasis on trying. No, I don't think I did see that video.
The video, I mean, it wasn't really like, I don't think it had a bad response to it, but it was just more so people, I wouldn't even say it was a mixed reaction. Like nobody was making fun of him, but it was also kind of brought up the conversation of like that age group, that generation, like they genuinely do struggle to read more than I feel like on average like we did. And I feel like that kind of in some ways goes back to that conversation about generations and it's just being like the Gen Z is like, hey man, something is not, I don't know. Like this is not to use him as a scapegoat or anything, but it's like we should know how to read. Like we should. And I really like I'm trying to be careful because like I'm not trying to make it seem like there aren't reasons why people might be behind the curve on something or whatever the case may be. There might be a disorder, like a legitimate disorder or whatever. There might be circumstances, but I think the numbers of how many people like actually like around that age like truly do struggle or don't have a certain depth of knowledge, like it is concerning. And I want us to stop acting like it's not concerning or that concerning is a inherently like negative thing, so to say. But yeah, I didn't know if you saw the video, but that was just a conversation I feel like I saw reignited because of the video a little bit.
No, I didn't. How old is he?
21, 22, maybe I'm checking, but early 20s, early 20s for sure.
Well, the average reading
24, 24.
24. The average literacy level in America is like seventh or eighth grade, I think, which is terrifying because it's a gang of people in America. You telling me that as a collective, the average is as high as seventh or eighth grade? What?
That's
That is terrifying. So yeah, I mean, yeah, there are, personal reasons or like you say, disorders and other things that may prevent that. But if we just talking general literacy, like if we saying all things are equal, it's really America's fault. I mean,
absolutely.
let's call a spade a spade. Like they're not being taught to read anymore. We had No Child Left Behind and decided, well, let's all hold hands and pass the finish line. Ma'am, five of your students can't read, and you gonna send them to fourth grade, and then they just gonna go to fifth, and before you know it, they're adults with jobs that can't read. What? We still relying on sight words and we 43? Come on. But yeah, literacy is the thing. It's fleeting too.
43 is such an interesting age to just land on there. But point taken, point understood, point received. Um yeah, but it's that is tough. But I mean, I don't know. Definitely agree. It is America's fault, but that system ain't changing no time soon. So
And I will say, as somebody who can read, I never liked reading out loud in class when it was my turn.
facts.
You best believe, because the pressure's on me, that anxiety. I didn't know I had anxiety at such a young age, right? But I would, for sure, I wouldn't use my finger because people who use their fingers to go across the page, that was a telltale that they could read. I just used my pen. So it was kind of already on the book anyway. So I was slick
Yeah.
with it. Same thing. But yeah, no,
The pen always looked better. It always looked better when you did it with the pen. It was a little bit more sophisticated.
right. I was like, oh, he can't read. He just needs to see what line he's on, right? But if you're using your fingertip, oh, baby, no, you don't know what the word means, right? Yeah, so as somebody who can read and has been able to read for a long time, I still never like reading out in front of people.
No, that is that's funny. The other thing, did you see Druski's latest skit?
Yes, the mega church.
Yes. What are your thoughts? A lot of people think it's funny, but then you got some people kind of giving them backlash, more specifically the Christian community. But yeah, what's your thoughts on the video? What's your thoughts on the reactions?
I'm not attacking mega churches, but all I'm gonna say is it was funny. If you didn't think it was, a hit dog a holler. Okay. If you took offense to it, then you know there's some truth in it. But I thought it was absolutely hilariously accurate because and what I like about Druski is, first of all, he is funny, but he's that like Dave Chappelle kind of funny, right? He is an intellectual comedian. And I love the fact that he can just do something super basic, even on them little hood knockoff Zeus network videos he be doing, right?
Yes.
His humor is based in a mirror to society, and I think everything he has done has been absolutely hilarious. But that mega church skit, when I was scrolling and I just saw him Chris Browning in the air, just hanging on them ropes, I said, "I'm done."
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that it had kind of started a conversation. I forgot like what the environment, like what the circumstances I was having it in, but we kind of talked about how like you have a lot of social media comedians that don't go the route of stand up, but I think that's also a larger conversation of stand up not being the proving grounds necessarily that it used to be, because the goal of necessarily being able to do your own special or have your like hours set, like I don't think that's the goal anymore. I don't think that's what most comedians or most people who are doing comedy on social media. I don't think that's what they're necessarily striving for, because Druski quite easily could be the king of skits. Like really, honestly, I don't think Druski is very far from Key and Peele. It's not the same marketing. Like, but in terms of like what they put into their skits, it's virtually the same. And Druski does it in a way more like he does it like he's in 2026. Like it's meant to be easy to see in that regard. It's not going to be like he could go the show route and do it where he has a show full of his skits like the Dave Chappelle show or something like that, but he doesn't really need to, nor do I think that's how his audience wants to kind of receive his content anyway. So I think it's an interesting conversation in the midst of like comedy, especially in 2026. But uh yeah, Drewski definitely keeping people attention. So
A couple of things on that. Let me see if I can recap. Um, I do think that that is a great comparison between what he is doing in Key and Peele. I never thought about that, but that is like spot on. I think Drewski would not translate well as like a sketch comedy show, even if it was on YouTube. Because I feel like a lot of his humor is like authentic, even though he's making, these, kind of canned moments and turning them into jokes. A sketch comedy show is like you watching this because you're being told to laugh at a certain point, right? Here's a punchline, here's that. And I feel like his type of existence is somebody that you just cool with, that just is funny and has taken off. You see the same with not Carlton Banks, right? Like it's the same concept with him. And this is not a shot at Drewski, but as the generation of comedy, maybe it's because they can't read. Because and I'm going somewhere with this. Maybe it's because they can't read, right? Because you're talking about stand up and comedy, they're storytellers, right? So they're able to pull all of these things in from these experiences and write content and be able to tell it verbally as a joke. This generation, their attention span, us included, is like 7, 8 seconds max on average now, right? And that's because of doom scroll and all that other stuff. They got to be funny in the moment. They're not going to take the time to sit and write. And are they good storytellers? I like the 85 South show, but would they stand alone as, individual stand-up comedians? Not all of them. Carlos Miller, definitely sure. But, that as a package, that works because they just kind of vibing off each other and it's this interactive Kings of Comedy kind of thing.
yeah.
But maybe it's because they can't read. They're not telling stories because they don't know the words. That's a possible connection. That's my thought after gardening. I'll go with that. But
Okay.
I do think the comedy thing's a little different. The stand up isn't what it used to be, at least for black comedians.
Nah, that's real. I'm stuck on gardening because one, also garden, so glad to know that we're in the same boat. Second, I was trying to explain this thing that happened on my birthday weekend, and I was explaining it in coded terms, of course. And so I was trying to explain this, but my birthday weekend, my homie from the crib, he only gardens in the woods. If you catch my drift, he
Fertile ground,
only
fertile
yeah
ground.
yeah. So when for the birthday, that's all that we was partaking in when we was gardening was gardening in the woods. And in one of these particular moments of partaking, I just I have reached my limits. And I was getting ready to call it a night. And as I was making my way back to the door to call it a night, I sat down or got sat down rather. I fell. But
Okay. Okay.
I fell. And it was one of those moments where it's like, yeah, just a bit too. It got me. It was throwing punches in it. It knocked me out. It slipped one in there. I felt fine afterwards. Laid down, got some water, got some food. I think it was a dehydration issue, honestly, at the end of the day. But that was definitely a funny moment from the weekend for sure. But the gardening made me remember that. So
Yeah, that gardening in the woods should no longer happen. Those are like tree trunks, okay? And we got a dear Neo that just loves them so. You had two of them ready, and I'm like, anybody else coming? Or
no, look, some people partake, their gardening in the woods religiously. Like it's all that they do. And I respect and I applaud it because I don't know if I'm built like that.
I'm not Optimus Prime, okay? That ain't for me.
Oh my goodness.